Welcome to Planet Holistic. I'm Kira Schaefer.
And I'm Todd Schaefer.
And we are going to speak to you today about women supporting women.
Awesome.
So women.
So naturally, this is something where I'm going to have a lot to say.
Well, I think you will because, you know, it's good to have a male perspective on women. You know, I think that I remember we did a telesummit a few years ago with our Speakers Guild and that we put on. And there was a man involved in that. It was actually a couple men involved in the Women's Empowerment Telesummit. Mm-hmm. And they were like, I don't know if I'm the right person. And one of the speakers, he was like, you know what? I am the right person because I have something to say about this because I love women. And I'm like, yeah, I do too. That's great. So it's always good to have different points of view. And it's always good to have it from an outside perspective as well.
And I've actually worked with a lot of women.
Yes, you've worked with a ton of women.
I've worked with thousands.
You've worked with thousands of women. So have I.
Literally.
Yeah.
Well, for a man to work with thousands of women,
yeah,
one-on-one on self-worth type issues and emotional stuff, that's kind of cool.
You got some,
I got something to offer. I've logged my 10,000 hours.
You have certainly logged your 10,000 hours and more. So we don't need to qualify Todd anymore. He gets a free pass today. But what I've noticed in my life, you know, is that I loved Todd actually brought up this quote. What is that? That women's covert in
when men compete, it's overt. When women compete, it's art.
And I love that because it's so it's very accurate from a very kind of an underdeveloped, you know, idea of things, and really it just comes down to a very lizard brain thing. You know, it's all about survival and getting ahead and pushing forward, and you know, and some people don't have any problem stepping on other folks, but sometimes it is very covert. I had somebody that actually wanted to sabotage me, but they did it in a way, and I don't even know if they were consciously aware of it, but they were like telling me all the bad things about this new opportunity I was getting. And then they were like, oh no, you'll be fine. You'll do great. Like, it's just a mountain of like, well, this is bad and this is bad and this is bad and this is bad, but you'll be fine. And I'm like, oh my God, I am completely freaked out right now. Until I went to somebody who was an incredibly supportive woman in my life and incredibly kind, and was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be great. You're going to do this, and this is going to be great, and this is why you have these strengths for this, and this is this. And so I got to see within about 2 days of a different type of woman that was showing up in my life. And it was very, very powerful to me because I could feel nothing but love coming from the one that was helping encourage me, and then the other one that was, you know, I believe unconsciously, I really do, sabotaging that. It just healed. So I think that we as women, it's important that we heal some of the wounds of the times that we've been sabotaged, or that other people have sabotaged our friends, in speaking to them in negative and low vibratory ways. So that's a kind of immediate thing off the top of my head.
I'm amazed. I mean, I'm speechless because those are all amazing topics. Now, for me, as a dude, as a man, I feel like I have not as much to say here, but I've seen a lot of stuff. One of my favorite things, on a more humorous note, to do when I had a job not too long ago was watch the silent digs that women would do to each other. Very subtle stuff.
Yeah.
And I would venture to say that a majority of men wouldn't even notice, especially depending on the personality type. But, you know, they didn't know my history. So I just get to be, you know, this antiquated male showing up in the office where really I have these superpowers that people don't know about. And of course, say supportive and disarming things and be a positive influence.
Yeah.
De-escalating things. We have an idea of what it looks like when it's not real support, because in my limited experience as a man, I don't see cat fights too often. I usually see what's not being said being more offensive between women than what is being said.
Yeah.
And Kira I still have my idiot days where she still points out to me things that I just do not see. I am still a dude. And I'm way out of practice with certain things, but I think, okay, let's just put all that aside. I think a really good thing to maybe consider contributing as a woman, if you want to level up, and this applies to men too, when being supportive, is just to bring in that authenticity element as much as possible and commit to telling the truth. I mean, if you want to level up in any aspect of your life, personal development, business, all the above, you have to bring in more honesty, truth, authenticity, and just genuineness, that means no more games. It's tempting, yes, at times when you're pissed off to play games and to shoot those digs and different things like that. And the older I get, the better I get at not doing those things and thinking them through and just certainly not doing those things, But no one is going to tell you to be a better person if you're an adult. I don't think.
No.
Hey,
you be better.
Right.
Like generally no.
Yeah, and some of the best advances in personal development are self-initiated. They're not things that are bestowed upon you from other people, unless you've got some incredible teachers. But some of the best and most long-lasting decisions for being better are self-motivated. They're just like, you know what? I've had enough. I'm just not going to be like that anymore. I know I'm good. I'm not an a-hole.
Right.
I'm a good person. I try my best. But you know what? I'm going to step into practicing being this way more often. Like when someone is asking for support, I am really going to say something supportive. I'm not going to half-ass it or what have you. So I guess maybe what I'm alluding to is being present, committing to being more present with yourself and with other people. Because the thing that I think we're starting to move away from as a society, especially I see this in our business, which is a really wonderful thing, is before I got into our business for As You Wish Publishing, I was working in the corporate world, and I really saw a lot of any kind of online interaction was or even texting, or even in person, they're very non-present interactions, and people are so damn busy and so overwhelmed and yada-da-da-da, and I get that. But I don't know, when I saw people coming together in this community, most of the conversation in our community isn't about business.
Right.
It's about connecting.
Mm-hmm. About positivity. It's about how can I help you, sister? It's a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that.
So it's
support of each other.
There's support. There's trust. I mean, it really does help to have a community where you feel safe to be able to trust. That very much does matter. Yeah. But also, trying to do it with communities or people who may not be in our the communities that we may not be in, and still trying to be as authentic as we possibly can, and just say, you know what, I'm setting a new standard for myself. I'm going to be as present as possible and engaging as possible when someone is asking for my support or someone just needs support and they're not asking for it, and I'm not having an expectation that they receive my support. That's different.
Right. Take my love.
That's
down
different.
Your throat.
That's a getting behavior. We don't do that. But when you are full, you can put it out there, and they can take it or leave it. But either way, you were holding yourself to a higher standard. I don't mean do more. I don't mean put more on top of yourself. I just mean be present, and if you're full and you want to share it, then share it. If you're not full, don't share it.
Right. Even if it's good, it could still be depleting you, which isn't actually a good thing.
Right.
So you're definitely not asking anybody to sacrifice or to put a burden on yourself or anything like that. But that if you have a woman in your life who is doing really well, you acknowledge how well she's doing, not just going, oh well, she's doing really well, not coveting her greatness, because you have greatness yourself that you are stepping into. And then also if someone is struggling, there was a great, I don't know if it was a meme or quote, but it said something to the effect of, a real queen will straighten the crown of another queen, and it's without saying a word. Just, all right, girl, let's straighten that crown up a little bit. Let's see you, and your magnificence and your sovereignty. And I think that that's the direction that we as womankind are having to go. We have to go in this direction. We have to support and care for each other. And, there's going to be times, when, there might be a little bit in there. You could disagree with a woman in your life who is not in her sovereignty. And what I mean by that is not in, it doesn't have anything to do with money. It doesn't have anything to do with status. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to, when you're in your sovereignty, you're in your presence, your truth. And if you see a woman that's not in her truth, it's easy to fall victim to being petty or to being arrogant or to being or dismissing them. It's very easy to do that. And I know I certainly, have, where I'll, not be able to see their light because they are in a position where they're doing things that I wouldn't do. But if we can collectively do our best to see everyone in the best light possible, Todd had done a podcast not too long ago about positive intent, that if we just consider that every woman, every human really, that we connect with is that their intent underneath it all is positive, then our interactions are going to, they're going to be very, very powerful, beautiful experiences. And the real truth, and I know that this may seem like lip service right now, but it's not. The real truth is that the more you see the light in your sister, the more sisters come into your life full of light. And that's a really, really important thing to notice, because as you notice it, as you see it, so shall it be, right? And so please, 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 as you continue on this journey of supporting women as a woman, know that you are exactly where you need to be. So if something is coming up for you, and you see someone in your life who is being petty with you, who is sabotaging you, who is putting you in the darkness, just remember to reclaim your sovereignty and go, not me. That whatever that is, that has nothing to do with me, and step into your greatness anyway.
Awesome, for sure. Lots of thoughts on that, but I'll keep it really short. It's hard to put a fine point on it and to say what doing this looks like, but it's something. I think we all know when we're being an asshole or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to that decision of choosing to not be an asshole when there's like nothing to gain. Yeah. And also just choosing to see the best in other people, even if they're not seeing it in themselves, and sharing the love if you have it to give, but you're not rescuing people.